Hello everyone. My name is Brianna Racewitz, and I'm here with you all to talk about the one and only Lady Gaga. So, Lady Gaga's real name is Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanato. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong though. And she was born and raised in New York City, and she was always seeking out to perform. Um, at 14, she would perform at open mic nights and bars, and she started studying at NYU Tisch for songwriting, but she just soon realized that she just wanted to start to try to break into that music industry at that age. So, she took the name slash role of Lady Gaga, and because she originally signed with the record label seen here, Def Jam's Recordings, and that was in 2006. And soon, that Def Jam's recordings dropped her, and it was just in a couple of months. And so she moved back home and she performed in these burlesque shows. And that's when she really started to go under Lady Gaga instead of Stephanie. She later got signed again in 2007 with this record label, Interscope, and she started to like writing songs for other big artists, is what she was doing in this company. And it wasn't until a producer, truly recognized her vocal talents, and she was just singing backup, and that's when she was just signed as an actual musical artist, a soloist in a way. So, she released her first album, which was called The Fame. And she would, when she performed this, she would tour to gay clubs. And it was promoting it until finally her song called Just Dance became very mainstream, which led to other songs off that album to become very, very big and nationwide. And what really made it blow up was not just because of her musical talents, which is, really, really amazing, but it was her performance, rather, that she would put on for these shows. And she created so much discourse for being known for being too big and like too eccentric. And she was often ridiculed for being very unique and having this very unique style, and this style that made her, and this specific style, made her such an icon in the queer community, and who, mostly made up of the time of just her fan base was the queer community. So, one of her really big political events that she did was it was known as her famous meat dress. And this famous meat dress was at the 2010 VMAs. And this just created such a huge buzz. And she accepted the award for Best Music Video for her song at the time, Bad Romance. And she said into the mic, literally accepting the speech or accepting the award, and she literally said, I've never thought I'd be asking Cher to hold my meat purse. So later she explained that she was just protesting the military, and it's their saying, or their policy is don't ask, don't tell. And she said, I quote, if we don't stand up for what we believe in, and if we don't fight for our rights, pretty soon we're going to have as much rights as the meat on our bones. So I thought that was very powerful, and it's very political, especially during this time. So her album Born This Way was the album where people really just started to focus on her actual musical talent, not just so much her performance anymore. People really started to notice what her songs were truly about and what they were covering, and these her topics were had a very wide range, and the topics were basically just like sex and politics and religion, and this because of that it created a lot of backlash in a sense, especially her song in the album called Edge of Glory. And that song is essentially for the gay and the trans people. And that just wasn't so accepted the way it would have been accepted nowadays. So it's just a different time period. So I want to really deep dive into her song called Air. I want to deep dive into this, and I'm going to go into a musical analyst on this song specifically. And the song Hair is about Lady Gaga's rebellious phase as a kid, because she has a huge deadhead. She she grew out her hair extra extra long, and she would wear it like that to school. And she did that to like sort of like differ herself from the other students, especially because everyone had to wear a uniform. So she wanted to be unique in herself and feel comfortable in her skin. And it would get so long that her mom would come into her room at night and would cut her hair while she's sleeping. Um, and this is just about her journey to finding herself and her own individuality in a world that would always, try to force you to be the exact same. And so she wanted to be different. So now I'm going to show you the song the clip I have of her singing this beautiful song.
On Friday, Rock City, high school dance. I've got my bangs to hide that I don't stand a chance. A chance. I just want to be myself, and I want you to love me for who I am. I just want to be myself, and I want you to know I am my hair. I've had enough. This is my prayer that I'll die living just as free as my hair. I've had enough. This is my prayer that I'll die living just as free as my hair. I've had enough. I'm not a freak. I'm just here fighting to stay cool on the streets. I've had enough, enough, enough. This is my on Friday.
So let's go back to PowerPoint and let me do this. So, about this song and what I really heard from this. So that song was played on the Howard Stern show. And I didn't want to play you her audio version because I think this version of her just at a piano, just herself, I think it's more powerful and it has more emotion behind it than just the regular version. So I want to show you that clip. And you can really hear her voice without the autotune, you can really hear her true voice. And I think it's beautiful. So in her voice and when she's singing, you can hear all these different kind of octaves in her voice throughout that song. And she's using that texture polyphonic during it. And for every four beats, she's waiting until the top um, to sing again, if that kind of makes sense. So in a way, she's holding back to create a different kind of rhythm. So I don't know if you hear it, but in the beginning, she is essentially, I don't want to phrase it. So she has her music and she's singing, but she'll like hold back lyrics until the last second, and then she'll start singing again at the top of that fourth beat. Does that kind of make sense? Um, so she kind of goes from like a faster pace in the beginning, and then at the end, it kind of, slows down, and it changes that rhythm super drastically. Um, so that rhythm change she is playing, there's a bunch of different kind of rhythms she's playing with throughout that specific version. And it has a really good, build up to a peak, and then it just comes down slowly to uh, rest. And she's using the timbre to build up this intensity just to slow it back down. So she's just essentially just creating this huge emotion to come just to a resolution. Um, and the melody is the piano, which is, is it's pretty consistent, I would say. And it starts over every 4 to 8 beats, like any normal song. And it's the same beats, you know, it's either going just super low or super high in that pitch, just depending on her voice and what she's having that emotion coming through. And in that, oh, sorry. There is just no harmony with other voices, but she's harmonizing with that piano, which I think is just absolutely beautiful. And in the clip I show, it has her second verse, which goes into the pre-chorus, and then that leads into that big build up to that main chorus, and then that's when it slows down to the bridge. And that's what you hear, that big, 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 big bid, and then it goes slow. And the form she goes by is the AABA, which is, what we learned in class. So I want to go back into her life a little bit. So following the release of her album Born This Way, she curated the Born This Way Foundation in 2012, and it was to support like young children's mental health. And from a young age, she would always be bullied for looks in school and quirky development. It quickly, developed depression. So, in spite of this, she just wanted to promote love and positivity through her musical expression and create a community that accepts love for everyone and no matter who they are. And um, so alongside her mind-blowing shows, she performances, she always finds a way to showcase her own musical talent and technical abilities in that voice of hers. And during every concert she puts on, she always has a portion that is purely instrumental. And it just strays away from what she's known for, which is, the big lights and the costumes and the backup dancers. And, she just sits down at a piano and she just performs songs without any tracks too. And that is, and it purely highlights her extremely beautiful vocal strength. And it's during this portion that anyone could know that she doesn't hide from backup dancers to make her a star. Her voice is where it all comes from, and it's a piece like this that it just proves no artist does it like the Lady Gaga does. So I want to talk about some recent stuff she's done super quickly. She has a makeup line called House Lab. She has a residency in Las Vegas that is strictly jazz and piano music. And she's done a couple of big acting jobs. For example, The Star is Born, and in that she uses her musical voice in there, and she has a song, I think it's the most beautiful song. It's called Shallows, and she has Bradley Cooper that's also in the movie, and in that song they harmonize so beautifully. It melts together, blends very well. And in this one section of the song, she has this huge buildup, and you can hear it in her vocals. It's very, very strong, and it's a big buildup. Um, she's also in a movie called House of Gucci, and she's recently in The Joker 2, to which she plays Harley Quinn in that movie. And she's currently working on a new album, but hopefully, it'll be really soon. And it's rare to find artists like this who can influence so much change and inspire so many people for who they want to be.